Okay, so hello friends. Today in this video we will discuss about you know uh, the news and editorial of the Hindu of 10th February. So let's start without wasting any time. So the first news says Battle of Ballot begins in UP today. Just talking about the election that is going to start today in UP. Again, political news. You don't have to read much about it. Just you must know that you know how elections are getting conducted. Election Commission of India conducts elections, and today elections in UP will start. Okay. Now budget ignored the poor, said by opposition. So, you know, again, opposition should criticize the government in order to like keep check and balance on the government. So the government works for the poor, in fact, works for inclusive development. So opposition is saying that budget, which was recently presented by Nirmala Thurman 3 4 days ago, so it ignored the poor. So it's a good way to debate and dissent should be in the parliament. So yeah, checks and balances is ensured in on the government. Now, Modi confident of BJP victory on all five state polls. Again, a political news not needed much. Now, scientists set new record in fusion energy. You must know what is fusion energy. Fusion energy is energy that is produced when two hydrogen nuclei combine together to form a helium nucleus. Such energy is produced in stars and sun. So it produces a huge amount of energy. It's a type of nuclear energy. Currently, like nuclear energy is produced through two types: nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Fission involves, decaying of uranium, and fusion involves combining of hydrogen atoms to form helium atoms. So scientists have set a new record in fusion energy. So this can be a game changer for energy sector of the world. Now, due to resume physical classes from February 17th. Now this is like students had protested about physical classes, so now the EU has taken decision to resume physical classes as lockdown and other restrictions are also easing out, so physical classes can be resumed. Now Delhi government has released 700 DJB contractual employees. This is very specific local news. We don't need to read much about it. Also, like, so herbal hookah allowed in bars. Delhi government tells High Court. Like herbal is something that is produced through herbs and plants. So herbal hookah is like the tobacco thing. So herbal hookah is like herbs produced through herbs and plants. The tobacco is produced through herbs and plants. Now it doesn't has much tobacco by this, so that is allowed in bars now. Delhi government is told High Court. Fine. Now budget session begins on stormy note in Rajasthan. No, here we should know that budget is not only produced by central government, but it is also presented by state government. So now the Rajasthan state government has started budget session. Now I want to ask you all people a question that please reply in the comment section that under which article central government presents the budget and under which article state government presents the budget. Okay. Now coming to the next headline. High Court seeks Facebook stand on plea by TN leader. Now I want this is also very specific news. Also now four Naxals arrested with explosives. Now I must know who are Naxals. Like Naxals are people, leftist people, influenced by Maoist ideology who pick up arms and fight against the government. They want to establish a stateless society. They are called Naxals and all. Now massive protest in Telangana over PM's remarks. Now we must understand here that protests are a good thing in a democracy. It like shows the dissent of the people. It is helps in maintaining checks and balances on the government. It ensures that government does not turn majoritarian and upholds people's interests. So, however, we must also ensure that protests should not turn violent and they should be peaceful. Now, army rescues hiker stranded on steep hill. This is very specific news, not much of importance. Now, here, INCOIS carries out coastal vulnerability assessment. Here, we should know that what is coastal vulnerability? Like coastal areas are very, very vulnerable to various things like climate change, global warming, coastal erosion, depletion of what do you say, biodiversity there. So coastal areas are very important because uh, they host a lot of biodiversity. Nature, very rich natural resources are there. It helps in preparing ports, harbors, all those things. Various important herbs like medicinal herbs are present there. So Coastal areas are very important, both economically, environmentally, ecologically, everything, and hence we must ensure coastal areas are safe. Now, regarding the Kerala model of development, as we know, Kerala is one of the most developed states of India. So this again editorial talks about how to revise Kerala model of development, and then to some extent political only. Angle and diplomacy, this is related to Pak and Kashmir, how relations between India and Pak are deteriorating due to the Kashmir issue. Now revisiting the politics of social justice in Uttar Pradesh, as Uttar Pradesh elections are near, so the political editorials are coming, not much of our importance. Now, see, it's time to take a relook at privatization. This is some important news as we must know about what is privatization, what are the benefits. The privatization can bring better management, better technology, better workforce, better efficiency, reduce government expenditure, reduce wasteful expenditure. Like government often suffers from red tapeism, inefficiency. All those things can be tackled through privatization, but at the same time, there are some issues also. Like privatization is driven by you know private companies are driven by profit motives, so it doesn't compromise public welfare. So we must ensure calibrated privatization so that we can ensure a trade-off between public welfare and efficiency and profit of private sector also. Now relief for BJP, headache for SP, again a very political not much for importance. Now government does not use the phrase urban Naxals, minister. See, urban Naxals, you should know what are who are urban Naxals. Naxals, as I have already told, that they are people influenced by leftist ideology and they took up arms in their hands. But over a period of time, we have understood, we have seen that like earlier, Red Corridor was there in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, this belt where Naxal activities was huge. But as government did heavy crackdown on Naxals, so the Naxals who used to take up arms have reduced drastically. So now a new concept has emerged, which is known as urban Naxals, where they people do not take up arms literally, but criticize the government in all its moves and makes the functioning of government difficult. In this way, they try to achieve a stateless society. They are called as urban Naxals. They live in urban areas. They do not take up arms, but radicalize people through their speeches and you know, basically talk of anti-establishment. So this article says that government does not use just the phrase urban Naxals. Okay. Now, Congress UP manifesto promises farm loan waivers. Now we must know that what are loan waivers? Loan waivers is a populist measure taken by government, generally populist, not always by the way. Sometimes loan waiver can be a necessity also, but generally during elections, governments, like political parties, promise loan waivers to attract farmers' votes. However, loan waiver is not a good thing if we talk from economy perspective, as it creates a bad credit culture. It leads to increase in NPAs. In fact, in apart from giving loan waivers, we can invest in technology awareness and other things so that farmers do not default on loans. And in this way, we can increase farmers' income, in fact, double farmers' income by 2022. Now, glowing embers of farmer situation in Bagpat, displeasure over the protesters being ignored, simmers in the Jat heartland of Uttar Pradesh, but many remain divided while farmers' protest is happening. Now, communal focus eclipses failing economy, joblessness in Uttarakhand. Again, often it is seen that politicians invoke communal feelings and they ignore the economy and other things. So this is not a very good thing. We must focus on economy and other things, and communal feelings like religious and other things should be set aside. It should not become the prime agenda of discussion in order to ensure sustainable and inclusive growth. Now, India's mRNA vaccine likely by April. Now, data from human trials likely to be presented for evaluation by February, and 4,000 volunteers recruited. So, India is, you know, preparing mRNA vaccine, which is likely to be prepared by April. Again, this is a good step. We are preparing our own vaccine. Now more women got maternity benefit. Again, like government has launched scheme for maternity benefit. Now over 40% teaching posts in ITs are vacant. We must understand that why posts in ITs are vacant, because people are not, basically students are not taking up teaching as a career. They are getting jobs in corporate sector. They are going to foreign countries for lucrative jobs, and hardly a minuscule fraction of students are pursuing teaching career. As a result, teaching posts in IITs are largely vacant. Like you can see, 40% teaching posts are vacant. So what is the need of the hour? We must ensure that students are encouraged to take up teaching as a career. Then only we can have good professors, good teachers. Then only we can train students. Huh? So we need to pay good compensation. We need to pay good benefits. We need to create a mindset that teaching is also a good thing. We need to provide them good environment, good salary. Then only students will be encouraged to take up teaching as a career. Now, India bans drone import to help domestic sector. Now, imports lead to current account deficit, lead to loss of our forex. So, banning drone import is indeed a good thing. It will first of all reduce our current account deficit, reduce our import cost. Help us have more foreign exchange, and also it will boost our domestic manufacturing sector. People will get jobs, domestic industries will flourish, economy will be growing. So overall development will happen. This is a good thing. And the Quad ministers to start a meeting in Australia. The Quad is an informal sector dialogue of four countries: India, Japan, Australia, and please reply in the comment section what is the fourth country, which is the fourth country of Quad grouping. Three countries I'm naming: India, Japan, Australia. Which is the fourth country? You have to reply in comment section. So basically, Quad is an informal security dialogue between these four countries, and they mainly focus on Indo-Pacific and to ensure freedom of navigation. So Quad ministers have set up meeting in Australia to discuss that issue only. However, we must note one thing: Quad is not a security alliance set by Antony Blinken. India has also reiterated several times that Quad is not a security alliance; it is just an informal security dialogue. Right. Now, Russia sees positive signals ahead. Russia and Spain's, leaders have met and they are seeing positive signals ahead. That's a good thing. Now, GST reset report to be in by April. So, 18% rate is 18% GST rate is currently on health insurance. That it's being reviewed, and the report will be presented by April. That's a good thing. We need to reduce the GST rate on health insurance in order to ensure more people are covered under health insurance. It will help ensure financial inclusion also. Right. Now, here some sports news are there. Sports news are not of much importance as given the nature of exam. However, we must ensure that they are updated with the major sports news. Right, like Winter Olympics are happening in China, so one should be updated by all those news. Here, one thing is that IPL auction is a level playing field. You must know that what is IPL auction. The title sponsor of IPL has changed. Earlier, we were the title sponsor, but now Indian company has been made the title sponsor. So this news becomes important. There should we keep Chinese companies title sponsor or keep Indian company only? This is the important like debate issue. Right now, this is a very interesting article. The coup in Western Africa and regional response. What is coup? Let us first of all understand this. Coup or military coup is a situation when the military takes over civilian government. Like we have seen Pervez Musharraf, General Yahya Khan taking over civilian government in Pakistan. So that's what a military coup, where civilian government is replaced generally by force, you know, by military bureaucracy. That's certainly not a good thing and is against democracy. So we have seen several military coups happening in West Africa and in fact overall Africa also, due to which Africa remains largely underdeveloped. This article talks about all those coups only, why coup was there, like the democratic culture was not there in people. Like India had democratic culture since ancient times only, but people on other parts of the world did not have that much democratic culture. As a result, several military coups happened.